Hi and welcome to the Sport.ca show. I'm your host, Aaron Bell. This is Canada's #1 online broadcast that features local sports and local teams from all across this great sporting nation. We're broadcasting countrywide to highlight your sport, your team, and your stories. Send us your sports stories and we'll feature the best ones on your show right here at Sport.ca. This is where we bring it all together. This week we've got stories from Ontario, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland. First, we're going to look at our sport reports from Ontario. In Wildcats Teachers Hockey, the black team came out on top over the white team in a spectacular display of 4-on-4 hockey. It was the 4-on-4 play that made it seem like a good old-fashioned game of pond hockey. The game felt like an overtime period in the NHL. A lot of urgency, with 12 tired and sweaty legs. Hats off to the goaltenders who faced what seemed like hundreds of shots and made fantastic saves. All that open ice really makes it hard for the goaltenders. Now we're moving to soccer in Ontario. The 1994 Barrie Sport girls got off to a good start in the Alliston Indoor League. They were moving the ball well and adding some highlight moves to come out on top against a hard-working Bradford Eagles team. Many of the girls demonstrated some nice footwork, which they've been working on all winter long. Good job, girls. And on a side note, it would be great to get some of those highlights sent in with your story. Remember, this is your show, and we want to entertain you. And now for Ontario softball. Softball Ontario is proud to announce the second annual Get in the Game Symposium on Saturday, February 23rd, 2008 at the Sport Alliance building in North York. The symposium is hosted by Softball Ontario's Participation Committee and is a great opportunity for minor softball associations to come together and work towards improving softball in Ontario. If you would like to register for Get in the Game Symposium or you have any questions, contact Lisa Crompton via telephone or email shown on your screen. Now moving to hockey in Nova Scotia, the Sherwood Flyers took on the ES Mariners and came out with a 4-3 win. 2 goals were scored by Christopher Stickings, 1 goal was scored by Sean Jacklin, and a goal was scored by Brendan Moss. The refs really took this game off as there was no penalties given during the game. Hangovers. The Flyers also played the Eastern Shore Vipers and lost 4-3, ending their 1-game winning streak. Christopher Stickings' goal evened the score at 1-1, and then later on in the game, with 52 seconds left, Harrison Irving scored a goal assisted by Sticklings in keeping to make the score a final 4-3. And guys, it's like my second grade music teacher used to say, what brings you through the mud can only make you browner. Tough laughs, guys. Now turning to Newfoundland and Labrador, Adam House League hockey. This past weekend, the Mount Pearl Hockey Dads sponsored an Adam House League tournament that saw the teams from Mount Pearl Minor Hockey Association, CBR, Avalon Celtics, and St. John's Caps battle it out for gold. It was a very competitive, well-organized tournament, with every team winning at least once. The bronze medal game came down to JB Hand and Shoppers. It was an exciting game coming right down to the wire, with JB Hand emerging as the victors, 3-2. Shoppers' player of the game was Jonathan O'Neill. Player of the game for JB Hand was Tyler Burt. The gold medal game was equally as entertaining. 2 Mount Pearl Minor Hockey Association teams, Scotiabank and H.J. Bartlett, played for bragging rights. The game featured some spectacular goaltending from both teams, along with flashes of offensive brilliance and stingy defense. Scotiabank's Mark Parsons opened the scoring early in the first stanza. H.J. Bartlett then went up 2-1, going into the third with goals from Nolan Corbett and Jacob Brown. However, Scotiabank would not be denied after a couple of gritty penalty kills managed to tickle the twine not once, but twice in the third. Goal scorers were Brady Stride and Mitchell Pope. Final score, Scotiabank 3, H.J. Bartlett 2. Player of the game for H.J. Bartlett was Nolan Corbett, and for the gold medal winners, it was Brady Stride. For our second sport report from Newfoundland and Labrador, we're turning to the Grand Falls Windsor Daninis Men Basketball League. In a battle of division rivals, Powerade and the powerhouse Daninis were tied 81-81 after 4 quarters. After 5 minutes of overtime, Powerade pulled out a victory 94-89. Having 6 points in overtime, Brian Cook continued his MVP campaign and finished the night with 27 points. He's really been playing well for the Powerade squad. Teammate Doug Evans finished with 24 points and Peter Morris had 17 points. Jeff Short hit 6 points in overtime and finished with 21 points for Daninis, but they just came up short. Teammate Corey King had 16 points, while Doug Mesher, Bill Butler, and Donnie Murray had 14 points for the Pizza Squad, which showed a lot of heart out there as they usually do. In Game 2, we featured Coke and M&M Meat Chops. Coke managed to pull out a 73-72 victory thanks to Richard Brenton. He was on fire and finished the night with 49 points for Coke, while Mark Daw had 13 points. So congratulations to the rest of the team for their combined 11 points. You guys must have been playing stellar defense and passing the ball very efficiently. Otherwise, you wouldn't have won the game. Sean Bursey of M&M finished on top for his team, finishing with 23 points, and Jeff Slaney finished with 18 points. Great game all around, fellas. Brenton and Daw, kudos to you guys, because if it wasn't for you, Coke wouldn't have pulled it out. We're looking forward to action from next week. For our third story, we're turning to curling in Newfoundland and Team Noseworthy. Team Noseworthy headed into the second draw of the Open on Saturday after having a bye in the first draw. This triple knockout event was a win and you're in weekend for Noseworthy squad, whose first opponent was the Jeff Cunningham rink. It was a back and forth all the way through, and late in the game, Cunningham came up with a draw to the house for a game-tying 3 points, sending the game into overtime. The final shot for victory was an open pick on a rock in the top of the 8-foot. Noseworthy saw the Cunningham rock sail past the rocks in the back of the house. This left Noseworthy with shot rock in the back of the 8-foot and secured them a spot in the tanker. Great game, Noseworthy. I'm not really sure what happened. Really sorry to hear about the rocks going through your house, but great game, and keep sending in those sports reports. Now turning to the Kinsmen's Pee Wee hockey team in Newfoundland. The Kinsmen carried a meek 3-9 record into the game against the visiting CBR Weirs team. Once again, the Kinsmen failed to generate enough offense and dropped a 5-1 decision to Weirs. Midway through the third, the Kinsmen were trailing 3-0 when Zach Clark, assisted by Travis Feltham and Daniel O'Day, scored the Kinsmen's lone goal. The Kinsmen continued to press, but were unable to convert on some good chances. Weirs put the game away with 2:41 left in the game, scoring their fourth. They later added an empty net goal. The Player of the Game award went to Zach Clark for the Kinsmen, who scored the team's lone goal. The Unsung Hero award went to Dylan Newell, who worked hard and had a strong effort throughout the game. But again, the Kinsmen couldn't come through. Better luck next time, guys. Sticking with hockey in Newfoundland, the Hellcats got their win on Saturday night, even though it was a hollow victory. A 1-0 default win over a team that could only ice 3 players is not exactly the stuff of legends. However, a win is a win, and the Cats were in desperate need of any positive momentum in what has become a season of disappointment. The next scheduled game is this Saturday against Gangrene, which is actually the worst name I've ever heard on this show. But good luck, guys. Maybe you can string together another victory and go for the 2-game winning streak. And now it's time for our salute to the users of Sport.ca. For this week's Smackdown of the Week, we are going to the Tricom Hockey League at Kelligers Arena, where CBR laid the smackdown on Mount Pearl, 11-0, in Pee Wee A action. Way to go, CBR. Way to teach them Mount Pearlians how to play hockey. They need to be taught. This week's Player of the Week, we've got our first ever tie, folks. First up is Devin Parsons, who plays novice hockey with the St. John's Minor Hockey Association. Way to go, Devin. You may just be the next Bobby Clark. Our co-player of the week this week is Richard Brenton, and his stellar performance for Coke in his men's basketball league in Grand Falls, Windsor. Richard scored 49 points, and that was good enough for co-player of the week. Unfortunately, he didn't send us in a picture, so here's what I hope is a close resemblance. I think it looks like him. Nice mohawk. This week's photo of the week was sent in by justphoto.ca. Thanks, guys. Here we have Laval's number 13 trying to prevent an out-of-bounds ball during the game. You can clearly see that his foot is out of bounds, but I don't know if the refs are getting paid much, so they probably missed it. But great shot. And that's our show for today. We cover the sports that you are playing and watching. Hockey, soccer, basketball, baseball, volleyball, any other sports you guys are playing. You send it to Sport.ca and we'll broadcast it. And we've got a lot of stories coming in from Ontario, Newfoundland, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. But there are other provinces in Canada. And if any of you folks are watching from these other provinces, go ahead and send in your sport reports and we'll put them on here.